Okay, hello, and welcome to this analysis of the NQ. Today is 13th of November. It's Wednesday. So, what did they do yesterday? I was talking about the fact that they could come up to this naked point of control that was at the source of this change of character. But I also said that because of the fact that we had a break of structure, that taking shorts from below it would actually be a better case for shorts to play out. I was thinking that we could get a bounce somewhere around here. They pushed through my level, which is okay. They came down to that 10-minute block that I was looking at, this one. They had a nice bounce from there, barely took Asia's high, and then had a big sell-off from there, which was kind of surprising. I thought they might reach a bit higher up into these imbalances, but no, they came down and mitigated a 1 hour fair value gap. So where does that leave us today? Well, right here we have Sydney and US's high stacked, and they mitigated this order block here. I think it was a 12-minute order block. I would be surprised if they came back into here right away, but they could, and if they did, I would be cautious about taking shorts purely based on the fact that if we get closes above this high, it would be a very drastic change of character, in my opinion. Now, they could come up here with a very quickly build some bearish structure up around this order block and this point of control in order to create a kind of higher time frame, kind of lower high, but I would be kind of wary, seeming as we've tapped into this imbalance twice, which means that it's kind of weaker, right? And we don't have many areas up here for us to easily kind of swing fail. So if we wanted to come up here a bit more confidently, I would like to see us properly base out around some areas lower. So what do we have lower? We have a RTH gap from back here on Thursday, the 7th of November or so. We had a pretty large gap up, which was the higher time frame break of structure. This would be a rather nice area to get some absorption, I think. We have some levels down here. We have equal lows. We have a nice... Well, we've 1 or 2 blocks down here that were responsible for the break of structure that pushed up. I would be looking at this area for finding some kind of bounce, depending on how we get there. The problem is with this area, it is kind of suspended above some interesting structure. This was around the elections. I don't know if we're going to come down this far, but a strong bounce from here would be rather interesting. UK is just opening. It'd be interesting to see what they do. We have Japan's low from the Tokyo close down here, kind of nested within this structure. It's right above an interesting enough level. If we do get crazy absorption down here, because we tapped into such a higher time frame area, I guess there is a chance that they send it up for an internal liquidity swipe. I would just be careful because, you know, if we don't really quickly get bearish precedent taking over internally, taking Sydney's high and the US high, I think that it would be likely that they would come up into this area, right? And we could spend a bit longer in here if they did do that. If we came down first, we would be building a lot of internal liquidity, but you would expect them to maybe be loading up quickly enough after doing that. Now, even though this was tapped again, it was a rather interesting move. The fact that it just tapped a small bit into this pull. I'm cautious about taking trades that are based around swing failing this New York high. I would like to see them build weak structure up here to be convinced of taking shorts in any way. This is some interesting structure they've built. But yeah, they're kind of tapping lower and lower. This kind of accumulation they're also, or apparent accumulation, they're also breaking structure right at the same time. And we've just come into a very large kind of pull here in the form of this 1 hour and higher fair value gap. But we are really pushing into it. We got vector recovery up at the top. So I could see them just working it down slowly and having a kind of a long squeeze into this RTH gap. That would be interesting. Whether this consolidation acts as enough support on its own, or we need to just have a really violent flush on these lows, I don't know. Let's have a look at volume around there. Obviously on the RTH gap there is not a lot of volume at all. Towards the lower end of it we can get some picking up. There is another gap below, and then volume picks up back into structure. And this kind of echoes my sentiment on the fact that I don't know if this structure is actually very strong at the moment. Money flow is very thick, and if we get a good enough long squeeze into here, and we get maybe a hidden div here, maybe on the 3 hour, the 2 hour, the 3 hour, we could have one more swipe up eventually. But what they're doing here is kind of interesting. So we had a break structure here. We took liquidity. Coming back up into here, I would be cautious with shorts, just by the way it looks. I would like to see us swing fail internally for me to be thinking about hopping on kind of shorts, right? So maybe some of these blocks inside here could do something. We do have a high volume node around Sydney's high. Hong Kong and Tokyo's highs are equal, making them an easy target. We do have some vector recovery around here. But at the moment, it does look like price does want to push down into some other demand. They kind of did what I was expecting, but not in the way that I expected them to do it. And I didn't think this kind of tap of this high would create this kind of move. I thought that they would come up first and then tap into demand. So this break of structure is an interesting one to note. Could they swing fail the US high and city's high? Sure, they could. Let's have a look at what's around there. We have VWAP banned from the anchored VWAP. We have the top of the high volume node as well. Let's take a look. I mean, this range would have to be kind of from here to here, which I'm not very keen on. We have a point of control around there, but this kind of structure, like if we don't get some heavy accumulation and breaks the structure upward here, like maybe they could roll over, right? We do have news. We do have news today, so that's something to note. I don't know how they're going to play with this internal area. I like using this start of the pull as an area to get into a short. It could be a news wick or something like that, but if we do start heavily consolidating and breaking upward here and taking nice liquidity, I would still be cautious of short squeezes in this zone. This low could give us a spring into this area. Yeah, it could. So yeah, bigger picture, we have an RTH gap below. It's below this past structural point here. We could use these highs here as some kind of support. It would be kind of crazy if this ended up swing failing, but I don't think it will quite yet. It would be kind of crazy if it did, but I don't know if it will. I think we're just going to take a while to scan downwards to find some support that we can create some more structure, right? What did the ES do in comparison with the NQ? The ES. that the 8th of November? And ES is taking longer to make pushes down, but the way it's swiping does leave a bit more room for some pulls to come into play. We already swing failed kind of this low, and now we're getting this like push down. Maybe just a long squeeze would be in order, right, to kind of solidify the bottom end of whatever range they're trying to make here. Yeah. Tokyo's close was right on a important kind of area of this push up, right? If they don't get strong accumulation below this point and swing fail it quickly, there's a chance that it rolls over and rolls down. If we start just blatantly taking liquidity here and we don't swing fail Tokyo's high, and we start breaking through New York and Sydney, I feel like a bullish pull could actually bring us back up into this pull to create some kind of lower high. We're at the bottom of this range. We just got a mitigation. It's kind of the last chance for me to think about pulling right up into this zone right now. If we just break down, geez, that would be interesting, you know. I feel like we would start accumulating down here, just below 21,000, if that did happen, which is a valid area to accumulate. We're just going to have to see if they want to break from this range now. Money flow definitely started coming out, you know. Definitely making lower lows on money flow. Just be wary of the higher time frames money flow, and if we do get a big swipe down, there would be a large chance that we would get a kind of a strong enough bounce right back into structure anyway. Just taking into account how drastically money flow is still coming up on the higher time frames, so that they can swipe down fast and it not make any difference to the larger narrative, right? But yeah, we just got to see where they'll base out. On the 12-hour, we do have... Where's that gone? Market cipher. Hello. There we go. On the 12-hour, we do have div after div after div. And we've been looking at these divs for a bit, you know. Yeah, it's a bit sketchy, you know, this kind of expansive move up. I really want to see some very convincing long signs to actually try and catch a bigger move coming up here. We have vector recovery right at this initial break of structure as well down here. Coming back here would be kind of crazy. So we'll just have to let them show us what they want to do in this range. I would count this high being taken as some kind of mitigation, and if we do come up and start playing with it, that will be a really interesting sign. You know, I don't even know if they would necessarily stop at this point, this previous range point of control, if we broke structure here. So you'd like to see bearish precedent kind of take over soon. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm just going to watch the liquidity that they build. If they do break structure here, I feel like this could be an interesting spring to keep ranging here. But I'm looking forward to if they come down here, what that means. We have equal lows, we have nice order blocks, we have like a few catalysts for this to be giving us a nice spring, to see where they bring it after that. So that's it really. Yeah, I'm a bit neutral, I guess, at the moment with taking trades. I guess this point that we did get closes below here, is an important structural point, right? And you could take this as a very large inkling of a greater bearish narrative taking over, right? If this structural point doesn't get negated with really strong push up here and consistent bullish structure being made, I'm going to take it that this is a sign that they're going to want to come down into 21K. Now they can play with pulls in here for a while, like they can dance around, you know, and you could get some scalps maybe off some local blocks and stuff, but it's a bit odd kind of price action. We can't ignore these bearish breaks of structure. And the fact that they did mitigate this area a few times makes me wary of taking shorts from up here. But if I see something very convincing, there's a chance I could hop onto that pull. UK just opened, so we kind of have 40 minutes or so for them to really decide what they're going to do. You know, I guess we are kind of finally coming down. We could just move down slowly over the next week or so, and you kind of accumulate into 21K. Like, it's definitely possible. I'd have to struggle to find on my oscillators like very convincing bullish signs yet. But this 1 hour mitigation of this fair value gap could give us something to retrace into and maybe catch a short internally. But I would just I'd just be cautious if we do come back up into this area, because that would be a lot of buying pressure coming up, like here, and that could be a continuation if they somehow do that. But yeah, that's it for today. We have started coming down, so just be aware that they can make some surprise long squeezes, and we do have areas below that they can squeeze and still maintain like the greater bullish narrative, right? They've manufactured money flow to be so thick that swipes down into this RTH gap or even into this blue vector could get bought up really quickly. But 12 hour does have, you know, signs of wanting to kind of pull back. But yeah, this kind of consolidation, slow and controlled pull down, I'm guessing that wherever they do bounce from, it'll be taken over by like a lot of higher time frame buys, right? Probably. So how we get there, I don't know. It's a bit of an iffy area. Just play the smaller pulls, you know, and we'll see what US does, and if they'll do kind of midweek reversal kind of thing, or if we're just continue down for the rest of the week. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. Happy trading, and we'll catch you tomorrow. Bye.